Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, honorable chief guest, and all the dignitaries present here today with us. I welcome you all to the inaugural ceremony of Public Systems Lab, IIT Delhi. Today we have with us Honorable Minister of Commerce and Industry, Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution and Textiles, Shri Piyush Goyal, as our chief guest for the event. I would now request Professor Rangan Banerjee, Director IIT Delhi, to deliver the welcome address. Please welcome Professor Banerjee.
Good morning. It's my privilege and honor to welcome Shri Piyush Goyal ji, who is the Honorable Minister for Commerce and Industry. We are delighted that he could be here with us to see that the Public Systems Lab gets off to a good start. For us as IIT Delhi, apart from excellence in teaching and research, we are also interested very much in seeing that we have societal impact. And the Public System Lab epitomizes everything in terms of how we can use our knowledge in terms of optimization, operations research, AI, ML, data analytics, all the kind of new techniques, and then use it for actually improving public systems. And this is something that will be a hub for students and researchers across our campus in different departments to look at whether it is food, whether it is transport, or any other public system. And public systems actually are extremely important because they are affecting the quality of life of people. And together, if we can see how the tools and techniques can be used, how we understand reality, and how we really improve the system. So this is the challenge before the lab, and I'm so glad, and I hope our institute also is a public system in its own. So I hope the Public Systems Lab researchers can also look at the operations of our institute and suggest to us how we can improve. So we are delighted to have our minister with us, and without taking up any more of your time, I would like to extend on behalf of the students, staff, and faculty of the Institute a hearty welcome to Shri Piyush Goyal ji.
Thank you, sir, for your warm welcome speech. I would now like to invite Mr. Bisho Parajoli, a senior UN diplomat with more than 35 years of experience and currently the country director of World Food Programme, to deliver his address. Please welcome Mr. Bisho Parajoli.
Good morning, Honorable Minister Piyush Goyal, Professor Rajan Banerjee, Director IIT, and all dignitaries, students, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really humble and very honored to be here this morning sharing the podium with Honorable Minister, Director IIT, and many other professors and faculties. Today's launch of this lab is a really unique moment, and we in World Food Programme are extremely humbled to be partnering and working with IIT, and we have seen already reference to impact, which the director just mentioned, through the engagement of IIT and WFP in changing the lives and improving the system. I also believe that this will set a great example in terms of transforming knowledge, expertise, what the student bring it from the IIT to the real practical life. The World Food Programme and the Government of India, we have a long cooperation over 50 years, and there has been so much transformation in India in terms of agriculture, and food, and so as the partnership between the WFP and the Government of India. And it's in that context, the current engagement we have with government and engagement on this lab through technical transformation, adding values, demonstrating best practices, piloting ideas, and bringing the best of research, which otherwise doesn't happen, and then government is scaling up, is a great example of this lab. And I want to really congratulate the IIT visionary professors for engagement. A couple of things in the context of India, which we as a WFP take very pride and promote globally, is India's food-based safety net program, covering almost 1 billion people under public distribution, midday meal, integrated child development program, reaching all across the country. And additionally, Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, during the whole COVID time, has set really great examples. Innovation, technical knowledge, introducing ideas in the context of even intervention like this one nation, one card has really set good example. Globally, WFP is really pushing through ideas and innovation to address rising hunger. And India is coming out as a really a leader in that front, taking its own people, taking care of own people, bringing knowledge and transforming and introducing new system. And we hope through this partnership, we can also take this knowledge and best models and shining example across continents and in the region for the betterment of the life of the people. WFP has set up a complete innovation center in Munich to support these ideas. In fact, WFP is working, in addition to this, in a number of other areas, testing and partnering with private sectors and public institutions at the state level, and we're hoping that some of those work gets scaled up moving forward. One of the good examples I want to share is we have introduced a grain ATM where the beneficiary of the public distribution system can just go and get their thumb and get their ration drawn out. And we're hoping that this gets finally tested and it gets scaled up. There is already a huge demand for it. These are the innovation we want to continue to promote and work on. Finally, 2 more points to stress. The whole sustainable development goal, we talk about improving life of people in multiple areas and front. These innovative technologies certainly is going to help towards that, and also bring private sector to engage and work and partner to scale up and really work on. So again, congratulations to IIT and all the officials who have been really working hard, including my own colleagues in this endeavor. And I'm really hoping that it'll bring a lots of fruits on the ground, benefiting the people and the vision of India in a multiple fronts. So thank you very much for this opportunity and congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing with us the endeavors of WFP across the world and your words of motivation. Moving further, we now have with us Professor Nomesh Bolia to introduce the lab to us.
Okay. Honorable Minister of the Government of India, Shri Piyush Goyal, Director IIT Delhi, Professor Rangan Banerjee, Country Director, World Food Program India, Shri Bishaw Parajuli, my colleague, Professor Sunil Jha, and distinguished members, students, friends, senior colleagues in the audience. It's a pleasure and privilege to introduce the Public Systems Lab. My task is onerous. I just have less than 2 to 3 minutes to talk about all of this, but I'm right here within IIT. Anybody who wants to interact with me, you're more than welcome to talk about this further. So this whole thing started with our group on industrial engineering and operations research has been working on problems in public transport, logistics for about a decade now. The World Food Program came in recently, and we immediately sort of clicked at the say, and we thought, let's formalize all of this into a lab called the Public Systems Lab. There are many, many people that are involved in setting up any such thing. Due to the paucity of time, I will not be able to take all the names here, but lots and lots of gratitude to everyone concerned here. The past and the current director, our heads, my own family, the World Food Program, of course, for everything that they've done so far in setting this up. And of course, our students. What is public system? So any large system that affects the lives of many, many people, typically funded by tax money, public money, is a public system in our definition. Examples include various programs such as food security, or it could include other systems such as public transport, just helping the government do their monitoring and management better, and so on and so forth. The lab aims to contribute to the performance of all of these systems using the latest techniques in operations research, in artificial intelligence, or any other technology which IIT brings to the table. So the vision is bold. We really want to be a global leader in providing innovative, sustainable, and scalable solutions to make public systems more effective and efficient and enhance their access and utilization by the communities in India as well as globally. Three broad objectives to sort of do this: customize R&D for the government sector, like we have pointed out here, enhance the capacities of local and global stakeholders from the government to the academia. I'll talk about that soon, and facilitate and support innovation and entrepreneurship. So with these three objectives, our methodology involves these broad areas. All of us have, would have heard about it: operations research, data science, economics, artificial intelligence. We have four key stakeholders here. Academia, of course, we are all here. The government, multilateral organization, which is an example of which is the UN World Food Program, our partner here, and the private sector. The idea is to really have all of these systems, these domains of engagement, the way we call them, health, transport, food, contribute to the sustainable development goals. These are quick glimpse of what is possible, what exactly we mean by public systems. So we have in our initial findings, we know that we can significantly cut down logistics cost when food is being distributed throughout the country, at the Food Corporation of India level as well as within the states. We can also help the government, like we have done with the Rajasthan government, set up analytics-based dashboards to monitor, raise alerts, use AI to do things better. Specifically, this is for the SDG 2. We've also done a pilot project on IoT-based warehouses to address post-harvest losses by putting a lot of sensors and giving alerts when the grains would rot. But of course, this is not restricted to food alone. We have won a national award, the Smart Move Challenge of the Government of India, helping the Bengaluru Metropolitan Transport Corporation to improve their bus schedules. A lot of public health work also goes on. When we think of health, we typically think of AIIMS and hospitals and medicine, but there's a lot of systemic work that needs to happen, ranging from making sure vaccines reach on time, as it was shown in the pandemic, to just modeling all the operations of COVID-19 and so many other areas. Going forward, what we want to do is to really not just remain restricted to our research publications, which is extremely important as academics. We will continue to do that for sure. But we also want to make sure that these things are implemented within the government. So expand geographically, take our projects to more states, engage more and more faculty, all the colleagues here as well as in other institutions across the country. Also engage in institutional capacity building across the country. Some specific projects I don't think I have time to talk about is, but for district magistrates, there can be good decision support systems. We are working with the Rajasthan government to develop this. Health systems, like I talked about, in terms of hospital operations, the supply chains, economics, all of that. Also, public systems fellowship, which if the government supports, we can set up a system where smart young people are placed in government departments, help them identify issues, and solve them using operations research and artificial intelligence. We welcome more partners, more collaborators. We hope one of those can be you. We are starting with the IITD and WFP. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for sharing the vision behind setting up the lab. I feel honored, and it gives me immense pleasure to introduce our chief guest for the event. We have with us Honorable Minister Shri Piyush Goyal. As the Minister of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, he has led the implementation of the world's largest food security program, Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, by distribution of free food grains to nearly 80 crore people over 2 years during the COVID-19 pandemic. As the Minister of Commerce and Industry, he led India to achieve its highest ever exports of about $675 billion in 2021-22. He also oversaw the launch of production-linked incentive scheme to strengthen manufacturing in the country. During his tenure as Minister of Railways, India achieved the best safety record of 0 passenger deaths in rail accidents. During his tenure, the Power, Coal and New and Renewable Energy Ministries led transformational changes in India's power sector and successfully implemented the world's largest LED bulb distribution program for energy efficiency. He also received the fourth annual Carnot Prize in 2018, recognizing the path-breaking transformations in India's energy sector. Please welcome Shri Piyush Goyal with a warm round of applause.
Thank you very much, Director Professor Rangan Banerjee, for giving me this opportunity to visit your wonderful campus, meet with these young, bright boys and girls, get to know about this wonderful initiative that you have started, which I believe is going to be a game changer, as I'll try to articulate a little later. But thank you truly for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Bishoy Parajuli, for your support from the World Food Programme to partner with IIT Delhi in this very important initiative. Professor Nomesh Bolia, I wish I'd known you earlier. Where were you all these years? When I was in the railways and we were looking at operation research techniques to try and create a better timetable, honestly, I went around the whole place and I had to go to IIT Mumbai to get it done. No complaints, but I do hope you have a healthy competition amongst each other. But I'm only sharing this with you because I didn't even know that you have a vibrant OR team over here. And I didn't go to Mumbai because I come from Mumbai. I went because I was told that they have a good team there who can do it. So now I know that you're here, I'm going to bother you a lot. I hope you don't mind. Professor Sunil Jha, it's so appropriate that both you and Professor Bolia are working together because industrial automation, truly with AI and all of these new technologies, can help us transform our public delivery systems. And I hope this lab, which we have started today, will be the harbinger of what Prime Minister Modi yesterday has articulated as the big vision of India, a developed nation. And I'm so happy that we've started in this project today itself, because this is the kind of initiatives which will help make India a developed nation. So my heartiest compliments and congratulations to you, your other colleagues, and to all the students of IIT Delhi on this very, very path-breaking initiative that you have given me an opportunity to learn about this morning. In fact, when Prime Minister Modi yesterday addressed the nation, and I must compliment and congratulate all of you for the 75th year of independence. We've completed 75 brilliant years, Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. And I'm told IIT has also celebrated with great pomp and splendor yesterday. I wish I had known. I would have rather come in my jeans yesterday and participated with the students when you had them all with the tricolor celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. But in his speech yesterday, he highlighted two things that I hope each one of you will take in as our mantras in this generation. One, in the five pran, the panch pran that he spoke about, the 5 commitments in some form. He broadly articulated the making of a developed nation, not a developing nation anymore. We want to be a developed, a prosperous nation as the first pran that we should all imbibe in ourselves. And what better way than to launch the Public Systems Lab on the very first day as we enter into Amrit Kal, the next 25 years, which are going to be the defining journey of India towards a developed nation. And truly wonderful that we can start our Amrit Kal with this innovative idea and I have the privilege of visiting probably one of the country's finest institutions, which makes all of us Indians proud. I mean, the kind of alumni that you have, the kind of teaching and studying that goes on in the IIT, and the wonderful research that comes out of IIT Delhi makes every Indian proud when we see your alumni take up big positions both in India and across the world. I'm sure it makes each one of you also much more empowered and much more excited about your future. And I personally am very excited about the future of this lab. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that this can play a very, very important role in many ways. Not only areas which are directly related to me. I've asked Professor to engage with my ministry because public food procurement and public food distribution are very, very important programs, as most of you must be aware of. The government gives out under the National Food Security Program free food grain or very, very concessional food grains, rice at 3 rupees, wheat at 2 rupees, across the country to 80 crore brothers and sisters from the less privileged sections of society, the poor, the lower middle class, many of whom would be otherwise stressed for their daily needs of food grains, are supported through this initiative. Through the COVID period, for 25 months until September next month, the Honorable Prime Minister launched the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana, under which 80 crore persons are given an additional 5 kilograms of food grains. And through the COVID period, by doubling the food entitlement for 80 crore of our brothers and sisters, I think we have been a role model for the rest of the world, and widely appreciated, I'm told, by the World Food Program also, that India is amongst the only countries which acted very quickly. We were proactive in our response to the COVID pandemic, and we made sure that not a single house has to go hungry. Not a single poor person in this country has to sleep without a wholesome meal. And I think we can all collectively, each one of us present in this room and otherwise, be proud of this fact that despite such a massive catastrophe, an epidemic of the types never seen before, a pandemic which was beyond imagination, happening after 100 years. And if you do a little bit of research, you will find some data points seem to suggest that at the Spanish flu, while the Spanish flu came about 100 years ago, or actually exactly 100 years ago, more people died due to hunger than due to the Spanish flu. But India can be satisfied that despite such a huge calamity, we were able to ensure that the fires were running, every home was able to have adequate stock of food grains. And this is clearly the collective effort of the whole country that helped us achieve this milestone. And we were able to do it because we had a very robust public distribution system across the country through the One Nation, One Ration card, for which the Prime Minister had been working for quite some time. Very often people don't realize the significance of many of the initiatives that have taken place. But can you imagine India which had not embarked on a Swachh Bharat mission in 2014? Can you imagine an India which had not embarked on a Digital India mission in 2015? Can you imagine how difficult it would have been to overcome COVID if we didn't have electricity in every village, every home across the length and breadth of the country? And there were millions of our brothers and sisters, young boys and girls, crores of families who did not have electricity until 2014, nearly 67 years after independence. One of the first initiatives the Prime Minister took up was A, take electricity to the remotest parts of the country, be it in dense jungles or atop mountain ranges. Every village in the first instance connected with electricity, and then every home throughout the country getting the benefit of a basic amenity, like a basic utility like electricity. Can you imagine how difficult it would have been if we had a lockdown and families didn't have cooking gas ranges or cooking gas connection in their home? If they had to go out into the fields to collect wood or buy coal to keep the cooking fires running? And therefore, each one of these initiatives, structural in nature, prepared India to face this COVID pandemic. And while we've lost many near and dear ones, we've had significant challenges. I recall the words of President APJ Abdul Kalam, who had said, and I quote, "Knowledge with action converts adversity into prosperity." In some sense, the fact that India is moving towards a more knowledge-based economy, the fact that great thrust is being given both to knowledge and vocational skills or skill development, really empowers us to plan for a prosperous India, to plan for a developed India. And therefore, yesterday Prime Minister added innovation, Anusandhan, to one of the important pillars on which we would like to see a developed India. And what better place than IIT Delhi, and what better opportunity than the start of the Public Systems Lab to demonstrate to the world the commitment of this nation, all of us in government and the private sector, and now the international institutions also with us, working in partnership to bring innovative solutions, innovative ideas to the fore, so that when we plan for a developed nation, it's the collective effort, sabka prayas, that takes us to the status of a developed nation. Of course, IIT Delhi has many things to be proud of. Not only the lovely, iconic Dogra Hall, where I believe you have one of the best structures which you are proud of, but all the so many ranchos that have come out of your precincts is something that I think everybody in the world has experienced and benefited from the knowledge that IIT Delhi has imparted over the years. I believe the Three Idiots was largely shot in IIT Delhi, is that correct? The movie Three Idiots? No. I am Bangalore, okay. I was under the impression because it somehow, when I walked in, I got that feeling that looks quite familiar. Maybe just because of my last visit here. Of course, that's 7 years ago. I last came here on 15th of September 2015. And it was a very similar program. It was an inauguration of a national biogas convention at your center. And I had just become the Minister for Power and Renewable Energy a year before that. And I remember at that time, I had also stressed on setting up a panel of scientists to do research and plan an integrated system to support research in biogas and other renewable technologies. And in my comments that time, I had said that through the biogas plants, we can demonstrate India's efforts to leave behind a greener planet. Today, I'm blessed to get this second opportunity to come to your institute, where I believe what you are doing will help us showcase to the world how we are using technology, how we are doing research with innovative ideas to showcase to the world solutions which will help public delivery becoming more efficient, becoming more effective. And in some sense, if you will look back, we have been using artificial intelligence, we have been using big data, we have been using OR in many ways over the last few years in government. Whether it's the JAM Trinity, the Jandan Aadhaar Mobile Trinity, which has helped us take financial inclusion to the bottom of the pyramid, the last man in the bottom of the pyramid, and to the remotest corners of India. It also helped us to ensure that beneficiaries are able to get the whatever is their entitlement directly into their bank account, rather than through middlemen and through a very inefficient system in which once upon a time Prime Minister of this country had given up hope on our nation and said, I'm helpless when I give out 100 rupees for beneficiaries in India, only 15 rupees reaches the final targeted beneficiary. And it was a sense of helplessness many years ago, which was defining India. Today, when India is talked about in the corridors of the world powers, we are talked about as an emerging superpower. We are talked about as a nation of startups, a nation of innovators, a nation which is engaging with the best in the world, a nation which is meeting its sustainable development goals well in advance, many, many years before the rest of the world. And that can only happen when you, the bright young boys and girls here, the faculty of IIT, all of you all come up with these new solutions, new ideas, which can help us make this nation a better place to live in, which can help us make life easier for the common citizen, and which can help us completely eliminate corruption from all public systems of delivery, something about which again the Prime Minister alluded to yesterday. So in a way, you are building upon the good work that has happened over the years. We've had the UPI, another wonderful initiative, and I have no doubt that there were several IITians behind the UPI. Nandan must be an IITian also. Nandan Nilekani. IIT? Mumbai. Well, I come from Mumbai, so I can take a little extra pride in that. But UPI came out of the innovation that some of your IITians have brought to the fore. ONDC, on which we are working, the Open Network for Digital Commerce, is going to be another game-changing initiative which will democratize e-commerce and help smaller entities, particularly the mom and pop stores and the small corner stores through the length and breadth of the country, save their existence and save the jobs and work that they provide to millions and millions of our brothers and sisters. So against a model which we have seen in the West, in the US, in several European countries and other parts of the world, where big e-commerce, on the strength of their money power and technology, has actually eaten into the small retail business, has killed the mom and pop stores, has killed that whole ecosystem. And you have a few companies where there is concentration of wealth. We are looking at ONDC as a new model which will help socialize and democratize the benefits of e-commerce and get more and more young entrepreneurs, more and more startups get an opportunity. It's very similar to UPI. If UPI was not there, we would not have had these hundreds of startup fintechs mushrooming all over the country and now all over the world. I think similarly, ONDC will be the new network which will help many, many platforms give customers choice, the power to choose what is best for them, and help small retail all over the country come onto the e-commerce networks. Similarly, we are a proud country in terms of having administered 200 crore vaccines. Probably the only country in the world to have administered 200 crore vaccines most efficiently. Every single recipient of the vaccine having a digitally determined vaccine schedule, being registered on the CoWIN app as one takes each dose. And I hope each one of you have taken your precautionary third dose. If you haven't, I would urge the director to run a special camp and make sure all the faculty, all the 12,000 students here and your staff working in different ways, all of them are benefited from this free third dose. And that program is going on for 75 days. Already 35 days are over. Please make sure that everybody gets their third dose. Through PM Gati Shakti also, again where IITians have played an important role in developing it, where BISAG in Ahmedabad is leading the initiative. We have been able to build a set of protocols which will help plan India's infrastructure better in the years to come. So I'm sure this Public Systems Lab will be one more step in this direction of making public distribution of services and goods more efficient, both in the public sector and the private sector, and therefore, in a way, helping this country, this wonderful country of ours, meet three of the major ideas or major initiatives that Prime Minister Modi articulated yesterday. One, our collective effort to make India a developed nation, which, as he rightly said, cannot happen without the collective action of all of us. Two, the thrust on innovation, the focus on innovation. And this lab is a perfect example of that innovation. And three, we want to rid this country of corruption. एक भ्रष्टाचार मुक्त भारत बनाने के लिए efficient public distribution, efficient public systems बहुत ही आवश्यक है. तो मैं समझता हूँ हम सबका सौभाग्य है कि आज हम सब इकट्ठे हुए हैं. मैं धन्यवाद करना चाहूँगा IIT दिल्ली का, वर्ल्ड फूड प्रोग्राम का, और हमारे सभी जो टीचर्स, जो फैकल्टी मेंबर्स इसके साथ जुड़े हैं, प्रोफेसर बोलिया, प्रोफेसर झा, अन्य जो फैकल्टी यहाँ पे जुड़ी है, आप सबका तहे दिल से धन्यवाद करना चाहूँगा कि आपने जो गति दी है माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के दूरदर्शी सोच को, उनके विजन को, उसको पहले दिन ही हम आज क्रियान्वित होते हुए देख रहे हैं. उसको हम आज पहले दिन ही, जब अमृत काल में देश प्रवेश कर रहा है, उसकी पहली कड़ी आज यहाँ पे देखने को मिल रही है. मैं आपका नमन करता हूँ, आपको शत शत प्रणाम करता हूँ, और आप सबको बहुत बहुत बधाई भी देता हूँ और आगे के लिए शुभकामनाएं भी देता हूँ. धन्यवाद.
Thank you, sir, for your words of motivation and appreciation. I would now request Professor Banerjee to honor our chief guest with the memento. I would now request Professor Sunil Jha, Department of Mechanical Engineering, to deliver the vote of thanks. Please welcome Professor Jha.
Very good afternoon. We would like to express our sincere thanks and gratitude to our guest, Honorable Minister of Commerce and Industry, Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, Textile, Shri Piyush Goyal ji, for taking out time to grace the event despite his busy schedule. I would also like to thank our director, Professor Rangan Banerjee, for his participating in the and addressing and also all-round support towards this event and setting up this public system lab at IIT Delhi. I would also like to thank UN World Food Program India, particularly Shri Bishop Parajuli, Country Director, Shri Eric Kenefik, Deputy Country Director, and Mr. Ankit Sood, Unit Head Supply Chain and PDS, for sponsoring and working closely with us like a true partner. I would also like to thank at this occasion successive head of the Mechanical Engineering Department, Professor P.V. Rao, Professor S.G. Deshmukh, and Professor M.R. Ravi for their encouragement and support in building up this facility at the Institute. I would also like to extend thanks to the Institute administration, deans, registry staff, and all other staff members from various units and offices involved in making this event a success. I would also like to thank colleagues for their consistent support, and very importantly, the student whose untiring efforts have been the key to all our work. Last but not least, thank you everyone for being present here and being a wonderful audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for sparing your time. There is a media interaction planned after the chief guest leaves. I request you all to be seated until then.